So what's up internet? Welcome back to Romanix Gaming. In today's video we're going to learn about Hunter Seorin, from Solo Leveling Arise. She is an ordinary Hunters Association staff member by day, but handles secret missions by night. Let's learn how she got here in life. Ever since she first entered the Hunters Association building, all eyes were on her. Despite having an intimidating appearance, Seorin had always been kind to others, added with her perfectionist nature, along with her cultivated appearance and mannerisms, that always drew other hunters to her. However, she rarely let anyone in. In her mind, she only had one friend, Seorin, and she too was a long-lost memory. To this day, their first meeting on that rooftop was vivid in her mind. In her school days, Seorin first saw Seorin standing on the railing on their school's roof. Before thinking, she pulled Seorin and rescued her. When the former read the name tag, it said, Lee Seorin. Seorin saw the girl up close, and the latter's skin looked sticky for some reason. She didn't ask her anything, but offered her space to cry, while standing by her side in silence. That was how they first met. As we know that actions speak louder than words, Seorin had already said more than Seorin could possibly thank her for. Time passed, and the rooftop transformed from the end of a journey to a new beginning. It became their hideout, where they both often came to comfort one another in times of pain. One winter, as it was snowing, Seorin came to Seorin's front door with bare feet, and said only one thing in a trembling voice: "This was the only place I could think to go." Instead of crying, Seorin forced herself to smile, and her friend just gave her a safe haven, without prying. Seorin only prayed one thing that night: that her friend wouldn't disappear into the cold again in the morning. The entire winter vacation, Seorin stayed at Seorin's house, because having her in sight brought comfort to the latter. However, a few days later Seorin received a phone call and left. Seorin offered to go with her, but the latter denied and said, "I'll be back soon." But this promise was never fulfilled. Days passed, and Seorin finally visited her friend's house. There she saw Seorin had lost weight, and the latter's father looked at Seorin with suspicion. Seorin just saw her friend off, and promised to meet her again on the graduation day. However, Seorin didn't attend the graduation day. Seorin called her friend countless times, but the latter didn't answer. Days passed, and Seorin once again went to her friend's house. Only this time, to find it cordoned in police tape, as officials from Hunters Association were conducting an investigation, and the house was declared as an active crime scene. Seorin felt helpless and looked in the sky as sleet fell softly, scattering through the air. Soon Seorin's story was public, with her face plastered over the wanted posters all over the town. But no one knew who was really to blame, because the truth is never simple. Seorin had countless questions about her friend's sudden disappearance, and the involvement of Hunters Association. She knew the only place she'll ever find answers will be the Hunters Association. 7 years passed, and Seorin was now an official member of the Hunters Association. One night she returned back to the original crime scene, Seorin's house, in order to find something. To her, this case was as fresh as it had only happened yesterday. While investigating the house, she stumbled upon an essence stone, but when she looked at it, she knew this one was an odd piece, because of an engraving in it. Before she could reach to a conclusion, she passed out. Hours later when she woke up, she found herself in a hunter-designated hospital. She realized that she was awakened now. Chief Inspector Woo Jinchul arrived, and checked on her. Seorin's suspicion was confirmed, that she is a hunter now. While talking with Jinchul, she informs that her friend Lee Seorin lived in that house, and Seorin has been investigating her case ever since. Jinchul says that the house is also related to a case he's currently investigating, and further adds that he'll give more information to Seorin, in the presence of Chairman Go Gun-hee. Later when she meets Chairman Go, he asks her if she's willing to stay this persistent, because things are about to get serious. Without thinking, she says yes, and Chairman Go informs that Hunters Association is unofficially investigating a case and she'll surely be interested in the outcome. After discussing, he assigns Seorin with Jinchul to conduct this investigation. When Seorin and Jinchul started their investigation, he told her to look at a newspaper article. It mentioned about an old man dying in his home, where he only lived with his granddaughter. Although police were investigating the scene as possible homicide, they decided to reach to Hunters Association because they found something unusual about this case. The officials sent by Hunters Association even confirmed police's suspicion and said there is something not right. Jinchul explains that in regular cases where murders are committed by awakened beings, it's because either they were unable to control their powers, or they intentionally misused them. But in this case, the association officials reached to a conclusion that it was an explosion. Along with it were the strange markings on the wall, as if something had erupted from within. He informs that this exact scenario happened with the Lee Seo-law case. Jinchul further reveals that he couldn't reach a conclusion just by looking at the photographs and decided to visit the crime scene on his own. That is where he found the unconscious Seorin, who had just awakened. He points out that all this couldn't be a mere coincidence, and thinks that Seorin holds the answer to this case. Seorin thinks that if the same things are happening all over again, maybe this all will lead her to Seo-law. Seorin thinks back to her childhood, when she and Seo-law were having a conversation on their usual hideout, the rooftop. Seo-law says that she had recently met someone named Hyun, whom she addressed as instructor. Seorin found this weird because Hyun wasn't actually Seo-law's teacher. Seo-law said that it felt right, because his voice made her feel protected. She also added that only he understood her, what she has been going through, and has always been right about everything. Seorin's suspicion was now confirmed, that something was off. That's because Seo-law didn't praise others in this way very often. Seo-law didn't stop praising him, and it only added to Seorin's worry. When she asked if they could meet him together next time, Seo-law replied positively. The following day, Seo-law didn't attend school, and when called by Seorin, the former gave an excuse that she caught cold. Seorin didn't buy this, and went to Seo-law's house to find the truth. There she saw Seo-law with a man in a black robe. She even called after her, but Seo-law didn't listen. When followed, both Seo-law and the man disappeared. Hours later, Seo-law eventually returned. But when Seorin asked where had she gone, the latter brushed it off again, and replied that she'll see Seorin at the graduation day tomorrow. Seorin didn't say anything more, but in her heart, she couldn't believe that this was her friend, Seo-law. When the incident happened the next day, and she found officials from Hunters Association, she knew it was that man's doing. To this day, she still regrets not stopping her friend that night. Back at the present day, Seorin and Jinchul are investigating a dungeon break. She asks why he called her here, if this was just another dungeon break. He reveals that this particular area was already under the suspicion, and further adds that she needs to act like another dispatched hunter, and blend in with the ones already inside. Seorin does as instructed, and takes care of the monsters outside the dungeon first. After the monsters are killed, Jinchul asks everyone to cooperate and show him their hunter IDs. The other hunters are somewhat skeptical, but agree. After the inspection is done, he informs that the association received a report of awakened beings operating illegally in the area. However, he believes it to be a false complaint. Some time later, they both return back to the association, where he finds the entire incident a bit strange. That's because gate appearances are more evenly distributed, but the area they just went isn't being reported for dungeons recently. She thinks that someone is intentionally hiding the appearances of the gates, and he replies positively. He had also sent someone to look into this matter undercover, and they did detect suspicious activity. Turns out, local people have been reporting dungeon incidents to another group, instead of Hunters Association. Seorin thinks that it's just another case of illegal gate acquisition. Some people pretending to be awakened, and taking all the valuables from the dungeon. Jinchul agrees with this as he too thought that. But he also adds that every one of them was an unregistered hunter, and neither of them had any close family or acquaintances. Due to this reason, Jinchul had issued summons to these people, but after that day, they all vanished. Because of this incident, Hunters Association is now treating this case as an ongoing, organized operation. Later that day, Jinchul sends Seorin to the same location where this all has been happening, and she is tasked to investigate an ongoing unregistered raid. After reaching the place, she doesn't waste any time, and enters the dungeon. She takes care of some beasts, and finds those people, deeper inside. The suspects were talking something in distance, about doing this the usual way. Front squad taking care of monsters, and back squad collecting valuables. One suspect asks when can these stones be shipped to the orphanage. To this the other replies that they don't need to wait for the boss to die, and can start collecting and shipping directly to the lab. Seorin is hearing their conversation, when one of them name drops, Instructor Hyun. She immediately loses her cool, and confronts those unregistered hunters. However, even after she overpowers them, they manage to slip away. She goes to follow them, but stumbles upon a child. She decides to interrogate the child after taking care of the dungeon boss. After defeating the boss, she brings the kid outside, and interrogates him. The kid reveals that he lives in an orphanage and Hyun is like a father to them. As the kid is talking, he immediately starts having headache. Seorin finds a pattern on his wrist, and it matches the one she found in Seola's house. This little detail is enough for her to start connecting the dots. Later that night, she and Jinchul arrive at that orphanage, but it had already been burned down. He suspects those fled hunters would have had a lot to hide, since they burned down an entire building. Upon further investigating, they find some unharmed documents, and get to know more about Hyun. They learn that Seola was actually one of the test subjects. After learning this much now, Seorin promises herself that she's coming for Seola. So guys, that was it for Seorin's documentary. I hope you enjoyed the video. Show some love, and I'll keep bringing some more characters' unheard stories to you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care and subscribe to Romanix Gaming.